6 Music.
Today from 2, Mickey Spangles and the Posse from midday.
Music Balloon with Julie Splaz.
But now, Admiral Cornballs and Buckules.
Hello and welcome to the big British castle. It's time for Adam and Joe to broadcast on the radio. There'll be some music and some random talking in between, and then eventually the whole thing will just end.
Rapping, I'm Christmas rapping. I'm a local councillor, there's rates to be capping. I rap here and I rap there. Oh, it's fun. I only got 2 lines in.
You did very well. Imagine if you were in like a really terrifying Detroit nightclub rapping against some really tough rappers.
Like 8 Mile.
Like 8 Mile, and you came on stage and the crowd were hoo, hoo, hoo. You know, there was really intimidating atmosphere, and you came out with that. Rapping, I'm Christmas rapping. I work for the council. How does it go?
I'm a local councillor, there's rates to be capping.
Yeah.
So strong opening couplet, you're saying?
But then you sort of collapsed. I mean, the crowd would be behind you for that. They'd be gasping, ooh, 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 kind of noise.
That's how Eminem started. That's an accurate evocation of the first time Eminem stepped out onto the boards.
Really? Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Hey, listeners, this is Adam.
Hey, this is Joe. Welcome to the Adam and Joe radio show here on BBC 6 Music on this kind of weird Saturday morning where everything's switching to winter.
Yeah, boy. Do the clocks even go
possibly, but it's all sort of been called off today, hasn't it, this morning? There's a little nip in the air.
3 weeks they go forward, is it?
Really?
Oh, I don't know. But
it's very windy across the British Isles. Gales in the north. It's all over.
My elbow's hurting.
Oh, dear.
The nasty weather's not agreeing with my elbow.
Your rheumatism?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Do you get that seasonal-related aches and pains
Not
yet?
really.
No. Wait for it.
There's a tiny little bit of depression in the air, though.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right, seasonal depression.
Seasonal depression
It's just
disorder.
a little bump. It's going to be Christmas soon, don't worry about it.
Ah, that's true.
It's going to be Santa time, Santa
listen,
party time.
We've got all sorts of stuff coming up in the show. We've got Text the Nation, the nation's favourite feature.
We got Retro Text the Nation, the nation's second favourite feature.
We've got Future Text the Nation. We've got Medieval Text the Nation. We've got Sci-Fi Text the Nation. And, of course, we've got Japanese Text the Nation and our new feature, Mumble to the Nation. No, that's not true. Only 2 of those are real. It would be ridiculous to fill the show with hundreds of different versions of the same segment.
That would be madness.
The one segment that we thought up 2 years ago, and we've never been able to think up of a different segment.
We thought it up.
We did. We thought up the idea of texting a radio program.
We thought up the idea of calling it Text the Nation.
That's an idea, isn't it? Just because many other people have it. We'll be going into that area as well of ideas and stolen jokes. We're going to have an amazing stolen joke face-off, so stay tuned for that. Plus, there's a Black Squadron command coming up any moment, but we're going to have a little bit more music first.
A little bit more music, mate. Do you know what? Before you heard the song we heard at the top of the show, the intro song, mate, that was rapping from Young MC.
Oh, great.
Yeah, with know-how.
He's
great.
an educated rapper from the past.
It's so great to hear a young MC rapping.
Isn't it? There's so many old MCs. It's good to let the youngsters through.
It's great.
I feel that about pop music in general. It's so dominated by the older folk.
Oh, it's true, mate.
Why don't they let some young artists come through once in a while?
I'd like to set up some kind of young rapping scheme to get the youngsters involved.
To get the youngsters, to get the under-20s rapping, because there's so many over 60s rapping. It's becoming tedious.
All the geriatric rappers, I'm so sick of them.
Get off the stage, Grandad.
Sick of them, mate.
Give the kids a chance.
I'm so sick of them. They make me so angry. I just want to pummel them, mate.
That doesn't really work.
Why?
An angry Australian accent. It's oil on water. Australians don't really get angry.
Some of them do, mate, when they're out in the outback and their sword slips and they cut their fingers.
Their sword slips?
Yeah, they're using their sword
in
for
the outback?
chopping the brush back.
Okay.
With a sword.
Would that be a sword?
Yeah, mate, that's what it's called. And when it slips
mate.
and it nicks your finger, that makes you angry. Try it.
Play the record, I think, maybe.
Yeah, it's just Wild Beasts with all the King's men.
There is an elite listening force known as Black Squadron. They are trained to rise early on a Saturday morning and listen to the very beginning of the Adam and Joe show live on 6 Music. They don't just listen when it's convenient later in the week with the iPlayer or the podcast. They listen now, in the present, without the ability to skip past the bits they don't like. Black Squadron, we salute you.
Yes, it's time for another one of our brand new, very exciting, innovative Black Squadron photo commands.
Well, the photo command is much better. I mean, in the olden days, Black Squadron used to be issued just a random command, like hide or something. We had no evidence, really, that people had done it.
Exactly. Analog commands, which were completely atavistic in this digital age.
Yeah. What was the other one? Bread in pocket.
Bread in pocket.
I mean, I trust Black Squadron that they would have definitely had bread in their pockets.
Yeah, oh, they did. And in fact, people used to send us photos back then.
Yeah, but not many.
But now it's integral to the command. We're going to give you a kind of a photo theme, Black Squadron, and we'd like you to race to send in a picture along this theme. And there's no winner, of course, not a competition.
It's not about
How do we describe it? Just a fun, interactive event.
Fun, random Scrabble, something like that.
Scrabble?
No, that's confusing.
Anyway, we're going to give you a command. We'd like you to send a photo in of you doing the command.
So get your photo equipment ready. Let me just tell you before we do that, a bit of Black Squadron news. Did you know this about the Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez?
Venezuelan?
In May of this year, I wrote a little rhyme here. I forgot I wrote the rhyme. Like I can rap about. Some people think he's wicked, some people think he's not. But he's a Venezuelan president. He's the only one I got. Hugo Chavez, Hugo Chavez. I put it in brackets, so maybe I should have forgotten about it.
No, that was good.
Thanks. Anyway, Hugo Chavez, he's the Venezuelan president. I can't say that. And he started to implement a 4-part colour-coded revolutionary reading plan this year, the goal of which, this is true, listeners, the goal of which is the democratisation of books and reading with a new conception of reading as a collective act under the fundamental values and principles of revolutionary socialism. I'm not making this up.
No, he's a good guy. He was the guy that Ken Livingstone went to try and do a deal for petrol on London Transport, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was a little bit controversial.
He's a controversial figure.
He's got very polarised political views.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's true. Anyway, the government in Venezuela is organising and encouraging the formation of state-sponsored book clubs or revolutionary reading squads, which will follow a set list. Yeah, reading squads, which will follow a set list of 100 books the government has drawn up. They're all by Nick Hornby, apparently. No, it's not true. In all, there are 4 phases to the curriculum, initially enticing readers with literature and then progressing through to books.
You must read Cormac McCarthy's The Road. Read it now. Everybody must read it.
It's true. It's very good. Have you read it?
No.
You should.
What's the one about the dog? The autistic boy and the dog?
Johnny and Tibbles.
You must read Johnny and Tibbles. That's a Venezuelan accent. Or you will be shot. Similar to the
It's a very strange,
very broad, bad Nazi.
Here are the actual squadrons that Hugo Chavez is implementing. Red Squadron, readers introduced to books that encourage the reader to empathise with humanity before politics. Green Squadron will work on deconstructing the capitalist worldview through reading and discussion of texts about our true symbols. Orange Squadron focuses on consolidating the reader as an individual and collective subject of the socialist and revolutionary project. And fourth and finally, Black Squadron.
Yes.
Devoted to sharing textual tools for cultural resistance against the ideological cultural attacks of the imperialists.
Yes.
So in a way, they're like the key squadron there in Chavez's reading.
Do you think we could do a link, some kind of a link up?
I was hoping that we might.
Can we get them on the phone?
Surely someone...
Or a leader, a Black Squadron leader.
Because they can get this show in Venezuela, can't they?
If you live in Venezuela and you can get in contact with a Black Squadron member, then please email us, adamandjoe.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. I mean...
Can you imagine if those people were actually... reading their, sharing their textual tools for cultural resistance and listening live to this show.
Wow.
They would be the ultimate Black Squadron
They
member.
really would. I mean, obviously, they've got a very particular political doctrine.
Yeah.
And are we suggesting that our Black Squadron share the same views?
Well, they could dovetail, couldn't they?
They could. I'm sure there's areas where they overlap.
Sure.
I mean, people are people.
Aren't they?
Right?
You could write a song about that. So anyway, maybe we should issue our command for our Black Squadron.
Yes, and remember, listeners, if you do text us or email us a photo, or if you text us a photo, your text will be charged at your standard message rate. That's what it says, but actually they're sometimes a bit more expensive, aren't they?
Got to be careful.
To send a photo.
Got to be aware of the charges.
So we're just saying that it's not our fault.
Exactly.
You know?
And by the way, after Admiral Cornballs issues the command for Black Squadron, we're going to have a free play. It's a one-hit wonder by the Hombres. Let It Out, Let It All Hang Out, the first of 3 60s-themed free plays I've got for you listeners. But first, here is the command.
Stand by, Black Squadron. Cameras and cell phones at the ready. Here is your command. Backwards clothes! That was Neil Young with Harvest Moon. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. The Black Squadron command has been issued. It was backwards clothes. And we've already had quite a few photos in. Some of them are pretty startling. Who's that? What's going on there, Adam?
That guy, he's reversed his clothes and he's...
Or she.
Stuck a picture. Is that Kevin Spacey's face?
I don't think so. I don't know whose face that is. Someone... I mean, this is very effective because it's a jacket and a shirt and tie reversed. So it really reads, you know, if you just reverse a red jumper,
yeah,
it maybe doesn't punch through. But this is really happening, isn't it?
That's a lady, you're right.
And the lady, and on the back of her head, she's put some kind of a mask. So there's that one. These are anonymous because they're by text. This is from... there was rather an attractive lady. She's gone away. And it suddenly made me think, wow, maybe we could be onto some kind of new fashion trend here.
Yeah, backwards clothes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the hip-hop community, sure, they wear their trousers backwards, don't they? But has there ever been any significant move in the indie pop community to wear your shirts backwards?
She's attractive as well, but she wasn't the one I was thinking of. What, sorry, mate?
Have people worn their shirts backwards properly?
Crisscross just did the trousers, didn't they?
Yeah, no one's really done the shirts.
No. That's exciting.
That's the next.
We could be onto. I mean, fashion's desperate, isn't it? It's gone all the way back to the 80s, and suddenly here's a new door opening.
Yeah.
Into the future.
Future door.
Anyway, keep those photos coming in for the next 4 minutes, because, of course, Black Squadron stand down at 9:30. That'll be violating various rules to send them in after then.
Our producer, James, just as Neil Young was fading out there, said, could you get into Lady Hawk before the news? I was thinking that's quite short notice to get into like a whole band.
Oh, I see.
You know, she's okay, but I don't know if I can get into her before the news.
Yeah.
Now that sounds dirty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, here's Magic by Lady Hawk.
Yes, yeah, Lady Hawk on Adam and Joe
She's
in
not
the
German.
morning.
Yeah, but I was.
Ah.
Yeah?
Yeah. You were imagining her
I was.
German. They sound exactly like, what are the other ones? From Australia, mate.
Yeah, the Empire of the Sun.
Empire of the Sun.
Well, it's very fashionable to sound like that, isn't it?
Fashionable to sound like that and to dress
Wouldn't it be
like
amazing
a giant
if,
ponce.
talking of dressing like a giant ponce, wouldn't it be amazing if someone from Black Squadron spent the whole day in the backwards clothes?
Yeah.
Like actually went out tonight, went to the supermarket, and if anyone commented, just, said, don't you know, it's like super fashionable.
I'd like to see a picture of someone out in the street dressed like that, certainly.
Yeah, that would be brave.
Consider that an incitement. But now it's time to stand you down, Black Squadron. So, at the ready...
Apart from this girl who I've slightly fallen in love with, she can not stand down.
She can come over.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time to stand down. Here's the jingle.
Black Squadron! Stand down, your work is done. You've earned yourself a nice warm bath and maybe a nice little bun.
Super furry animals. Sorry, Adam. With Hello Sunshine. Is that what you were going to say as well?
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say.
What coincidence.
That was taken from their 2003 album, Phantom Power. Hey, listeners, this is Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. Very nice to have you along this Saturday morning. Now, Joe, I can remember going out to dinner with friends and it being quite uncomfortable to have quite a sweet drink, for instance, if we were having sangria, to the point where I had to say, that's it, I can't have any more. The dentist diagnosed, really, that I did have sensitive teeth. I felt I hadn't been looking after my teeth properly. I started using Boggins. There's the whitening version over there. That's my favourite. It sits in my bathroom all the time. It ticks all the boxes, really, for me. Keeps my teeth white. Not sure how it does it, but it seems to work.
Hey, listen, do you mind if I come and make a commercial with you? It's just I work for Boggins, and I'm just going to do it on my camcorder.
Right.
In your actual kitchen or bathroom. It's going to be very naturalistic and real. But I feel that your honest relationship with the product Boggins, captured in a very honest way, is really going to communicate to consumers and other people who have this problem that some people see as trivial, but actually we know is actually a very serious problem.
Well, it was tough for me because after a while I couldn't have any more sangria.
Well, yeah, and you do like to drink heavily.
I love sangria.
Yeah,
at dinner parties.
A sort of
right. Okay. You want to make a commercial? Well, it's a bit weird for me because I was just confiding in you as a friend about the sensitive teeth.
Well, do you know what? I actually secretly filmed you while you were doing that, and we've already cut it together, and we are going to put it out on telly. I mean, it's going to be very real, and it's going to be very real.
What? How do you mean?
It's fine. Look, all you need to know is the sangria's back on.
I feel totally violated. You violated my trust, my friendship.
Well, have some free Boggins.
I was trying to talk to you about my sensitive teeth and I was using Boggins. I'm never going to use Boggins ever again now.
Okay, we won't use this bit.
You've destroyed my relationship with Boggins. Now I'm going to have to play some Death Cab for Cutie to make up for it.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, you brought it on yourself. This is Meet Me at the Equinox.
Death Cab for Cutie with Meet Me at the Equinox. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. It's time for Retro Text the Nation. And before we play the jingle, we received an email that I'd like to read out to you. Dear Blameless Adam and Joe, I am a dedicated podcast listener and possible member of Slack Squadron, although I don't fully understand all the pseudo-squadrons you have lurking about.
Easy.
I am also, for this email, the voice of the people. Why oh why is the hypnotically brilliant Retro Text the Nation jingle... Now, hang on a second. Why oh why in the hypnotically brilliant Retro Text the Nation jingle is it thrown in the trash and forgotten about? The word grinds on my ears each time I'm forced to sing along with it. My elder sister and I are such fans that we recently found ourselves unable to sleep in a tent in Texas, singing an Adam and Joe jingle medley, of which I'm only a little ashamed. I always sing bin. For the love of God, what's wrong with bin? If you choose to ignore my pleas and continue with this random Americanism, feel free to discard this email. But when it disappears forever, it will be in the bin. I'm fairly sure Adam has nothing to do with those lyrics, so good work, Count Buckules. From Clem and her sisters Fleur and Blanche in Delaney, Kent.
Well, let's have a listen to the jingle and see what they're talking about and listen out for that random Americanism in there.
I like to listen to Adam and Joe, but I listen to the podcast, not the live show. I used to feel acute frustration because I couldn't join in with Text the Nation. But now my troubles have disappeared because Retro Text the Nation's here. And now my letter might be read out instead of thrown in the trash and forgotten about. Does that sicken you?
You know, it never really bothered me before.
You know what? It actually bothered me when I recorded it.
Why did you do it?
Well, why did I do it? Why did you do it? Because, well, I didn't have time. I think I did it quite late in the day and rushed into the studio like Holly Hunter in Broadcast News to get it on air in time.
Yeah.
And it was always gnawing at the back of my brainium. Oh,
you're a bit of a bimbo like William Hurt in Broadcast News.
Yep, a himbo.
And so the Americanism was just lodged there in the forefront of your mind, and out it popped.
So, and this especially for Clem.
Was there a part of you that was thinking, we should broaden our appeal, we should make the show transatlantic in some way?
No, I was just being, just being lazy.
Right.
So I've made an adjustment for Clem and Fleur and Blanche, and from henceforth, this following jingle will be our new jingle. So you guys, you've changed the fabric of the show and therefore the universe.
And space-time, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I like to listen to Adam and Joe, but I listen to the podcast, not the live show. I used to feel acute frustration because I couldn't join in with Text the Nation. But now my troubles have disappeared because Retro Text the Nation's here. And now my letter might be read out instead of thrown in the bin and forgotten about.
Nicely amended, yeah.
It's better.
What are you going to do about the fact that it sounds like acute frustration? Like, oh, that's acute frustration.
I'll deal with that as well. What would you like? Just more...
When you say, I used to feel acute frustration.
Acute, so I'd need to lengthen the pause.
I used to feel acute frustration. Like that.
But is that any different?
Acute rather than acute.
acute.
Yeah, you're saying acute. Look at that cute frustration.
Yeah, but it still sounds like that if you say acute.
That's a cute frustration. Where'd you get it?
I'll change that as well. If anyone else would like me to adjust that jingle in any way, please contact us and I will do it.
And that's the end of Retro Textination. No, it's not. Retro Textination, just to remind you, if you haven't heard this show before, is... If you hadn't heard the show before, I wouldn't be reminding you, though, about anything, would I? So anyway, listen. It's a chance for people who listen to this show during the week after the live show to contribute to the Textination subject, which last week was run-ins with petty officialdom. Yes. So here are a few of the communications we received during the week. This one is from... I responded to this one particularly because I'm a fellow cyclist. This is from Alison Linden Parker. And she did something which a lot of cyclists do rather naughtily, which is jump over a red light, just carry on cycling, even though she makes the point of... Well, I'll read out her message. She says, I had a cycling-related encounter with a motorbike policeman who stopped me for jumping a red light on my bike. I hasten to add that no one was crossing the road, there wasn't even a pedestrian in sight, and the road ahead was clear, so I took an informed decision to cycle off just before the light turned orange. The man from Chips went through the usual spiel. Did I know why he had stopped me, etc., etc., and eventually, after around 6 minutes, summarised by saying that I had acted dangerously and endangered lives by ignoring the red light, and asked if I agreed, as he pulled out a small notebook. I did not agree, and told him that over and over, and I told him that however much he patronised me, I would never agree, as I had made sure the road was clear. I pointed out that he, however, had nearly caused me to fall off, and had also parked his motorbike across one lane of the road, causing 2 lanes of busy traffic to filter into one, endangering all road users. He was becoming annoyed, so I also mentioned that he was talking to me as if I were a tearaway teen, which is inappropriate because I'm a 38-year-old mother. At this, he threw his notepad on the floor in rage. You don't know whether to kiss me or hit me, do you? I asked.
You don't know whether to kiss me or hit me.
He was so embarrassed. He told me to get out of here before I throw the book at you. I looked at his tiny notebook on the road in a puddle, smiled at him, and cycled away. That's from Alison.
It's strangely erotic story.
It went all sexy at the end, isn't it?
It's like the beginning of an erotic story in an adult magazine. That would, yeah. She'd be looking at his tiny little something else in that version. That's good, though. She was very cheeky, and it's not... you're not advised to be cheeky to the police. They hate that.
No. Don't say you don't know whether to kiss me or hit me to a cop. What if you were a man and you said that to a male cop as well?
She short-circuited his tiny cop brain.
Yeah, you can do that sometimes to cops.
Here's one we got from R.J. Barker. Dear Adam and Joe, I went to see the rock band Tool, other rock bands are available, at a huge place in Manchester. While I awaited the band to start, I'd been enjoying a lolly, cherry flavour. Once the lolly was finished, I kept the stick to chew on, partly so as not to litter, and partly in the mistaken belief I would look cool. As I was crossing the arena to visit the gentleman's restroom, lolly stick in mouth, I was stopped by a security guard. You can't smoke in here, he told me. It's a lolly stick, I replied, while showing him the offending item. I don't care what it is, put it out, he said in a stern manner, while pointing a beefy finger at me. Although there were many clever and witty replies available to me at this point, the security guard was a lot bigger than me, and cowardice won out. I apologised, and he watched rather smugly, as I pretended to stub out my lolly stick on the floor. He was then gracious enough to direct me to a bin and tell me not to be caught doing it again.
Oh my goodness.
I found it very difficult to enjoy the rock band Tool. Afterwards, as I felt, rebellious rock and roll credentials had been somewhat diminished by the lolly stick incident and my pathetic caving in to the man.
Wow, it's appropriate. Maybe Tool have their own special security guards appropriate to the name of the band. That's
Stub
amazing.
out the lolly stick.
Stub out, and he actually did. Okay then. Okay, sorry.
Got another one?
Yeah, here we go. Again, this is a bike bell thing. A bike-related thing. This is from Tim in Bath. I had my details taken by the police after ringing the bell on a parked bike. I was leaving a message on a friend's answer phone at the time, singing a song, and I thought the bell would complement my vocals nicely, so I gave it a quick ring. A passing patrol car flashed its blue lights. I panicked and started to run away. I rounded the corner to find another car waiting for me. I was busted, like 2 cars on the on the bell ringing thing. I thought this was a good time for me to finish my answer phone message, so I parted with, "Sorry, I have to go, I'm being arrested." I explained what was going on. I said I was just singing a song. They seemed to understand, and apparently they thought I might be trying to steal the bike. On being released, I asked, "Haven't you got any real criminals to catch?"
Nice.
It's always
nice line.
Good one. Always a good one. They've never heard that before, the cops. It remains the most crass quip I've ever had the embarrassment to come up with. All this because I rang a bike bell. Also, I was very drunk. Thanks for reading. Keep up the good work. Tim from Bath.
We got quite a lot of emails on this subject from people who had actually broken the law and then got really indignant about being caught.
Well, there's shades of law breaking.
I know,
though,
this is all about the, powers of enforcement trying to use a little bit of discretion.
Discretion is
rather
the key
than being
word
condescending and officious.
Sticking to the letter of the law.
Here's a good one from Phil Webb in Acton. He says, I was on holiday in a ski resort in France when I thought I'd go for a nice relaxing swim. When I went to the pool in my shorts, the lifeguard shook his head and pointed to a sign that had a picture of a man in shorts with a line through it. He explained in French that I could only wear Speedos in the pool. When I said that I'd paid and that I didn't have any Speedos, he suggested I borrow a pair at the pay-in desk. Feeling very wound up, I demanded to borrow some permitted swimwear at the reception. The woman there produced a wet pair of Speedos that an 8-year-old would have difficulty squeezing into.
Ooh.
Rather than lose my admission fee, I wrestled my way into them, returned fuming to the pool, with my chudleys bursting at the seams. I found the lifeguard, pointed at my crotch, and declared, "Vous êtes contente maintenant? Zut alors, mon pantalon." Vous êtes contente maintenant? Zut alors, mon pantalon. From Phil Webb in Acton.
It's the new single by Wild Beasts. That's bad, though, when you get made to put on clothes in like when you go into a restaurant and they make you put on a tie or a jacket.
It's the visual image, though, of the chudleys.
Certainly.
Bursting out on both sides.
Also, the unpleasantness of putting on a wet pair.
And that being enforced by the pool.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Thank you very much indeed for all your messages throughout the week. And don't forget that you can contribute in any way, not just for Retro Textination, by emailing us at adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk.
And there's another Textination coming up in like about 13 minutes because it's the only idea we've got.
Here's a free play. This is yours, Joe.
Is it? Yeah, this is lovely. This is John Holt. This is some reggae from the 60s or possibly the 70s. I'll find out while it's playing.
I only know Help Me Make It Through the Night by JohnUlt. Is this a good one? Obviously,
this is a good one. It's called Ali Baba.
That's Noah and the Whale with Blue Skies. I wonder if they're... No, of course, they're nothing to do with... Is it Noah Wiley from ER? Is that the actor's name?
Yeah.
Maybe he's a fan. There's a band that sounds a bit like my name. That's how he speaks in real life. You know, in ER, he sounds sexy and together. In real life, that's how he talks. Oh, have you seen Noah in the Whale? That sounds like my name, Noah Wiley. We'll buy their album. So this week, Joe.
Yeah.
My son was at breakfast and suddenly he pipes up, "Hey, Dad, my maths teacher said he heard you on the radio. And he said he thought Joe was really, really funny."
Yes, nice.
And then my mum, who can see that my feelings are tiny little bit dented there, said, "Did he say anything about Daddy too?" And he says, "No." But then, very sweetly, right, trying to save my feelings, he said, "Sorry, Dad, no, I'm afraid not, he didn't."
Oh. Do you know that's a thing? Parents always like your friends more than they like you.
Right.
Do you get that when your friends come to your house? They always seem to take a real shine to the friend. Because they don't know that the friend's an idiot hole.
Yeah.
They don't know what you know. I found that a lot when I was a child. I'd feel inside, well, if you like Timmy better than me, then have him as a son and I'll leave.
Yeah, maths teacher, though.
Similar kind of thing.
I mean, that's no good if the maths teacher is more of a fan of you than he is of me, and he's dealing with my son.
Well, your son is a kind of piece of you.
Yeah.
So in a way...
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Every time he gets something wrong in maths class, he's going to be thinking, Typical. Cornballs would have got that.
Yeah, well, Cornballs would have got
Cornballs' son would have done that.
Yeah. 398, sir.
Exactly.
44 squared, sir.
He's got all the answers. Here's a message we got from Sarah and Maisie as well. This says... Sarah and Maisie, is that right? Hi, Adam and Joe. My 3-year-old Maisie... Okay, there we go. My 3-year-old Maisie asked for some telly time recently and requested the funny film with the piano, which is Laurel and Hardy's The Music Box.
That's what she meant, the piano.
A family favourite. No, not the piano.
Kids love that film.
The music started and Laurel and Hardy's faces filled the screen and Maisie excitedly shouted, "It's Adam and Joe!"
Well, that's not particularly flattering to either of us.
She says, "I hope you take this as a compliment." How would that be a compliment?
Well, they're very funny and very famous.
That's true, they are comedy geniuses, but we're clearly not comedy geniuses, so all we can assume is that we look a bit like Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, one of us
bad.
is short and one of us is tall.
Yeah.
You're in no way large, though.
Well, lardy.
Not at all.
Stocky.
Not anymore. You used to be a tiny bit. You've lost it all now. It's true. I'm trying to be flattering.
Thanks, man.
At least for the last 10 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
You've been very trim and svelte.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
So what about you? How are you dealing with being like the long, thin guy?
All right. How old is this person? 3?
3.
No, I'm not going to get angry.
Are you not?
Yeah, when she's a bit older.
I was absolutely furious. I went round there and shouted.
Did you?
Shouted in her face.
What do you mean? Look at me! Am I like a huge fat man? No, I'm not! I've got a beard! Does he ever have a beard? No, he didn't!
Get away from my son!
So why
Get
don't
out.
you keep your opinions to
Jeffrey,
yourself?
call the police, Jeffrey, for God's sake.
Maisie,
Pass
if
me the
that is
broom.
your name.
Get out! Is
Right?
that what happened?
Yeah.
What
Her
a
mum was
scene.
crying. The cops turned up.
God, you were wrestled out for hitting a
I went
toddler.
to prison for 3 days. I didn't hit the toddler.
Didn't
I shouted.
you, though?
No,
Well, you claim it was accidental.
Well, the cops restrained me before I could get to her. But I mean, it was a scene
You're
of carnage.
disgusting.
So I'm just saying, listeners, careful, all right? Just be careful what you compare us to. Otherwise, that could happen. Here's Pulp. Stupid trees. That's Pulp. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a bit of phlegm in my throat there.
A little bit of Boggins up
A
the
little bit
noggins.
of Boggins in the noggins. That was taken from their 2001 album, We Love Life. Was that even their last album, I think? That's the one that absolutely sucked their will to live. Was that 2001? Anyway,
So
the
many
song-
questions.
So many questions. It reached number 23 in the UK singles charts.
Did you get your precious photos?
Did you get your precious photos?
Listen, we have a segment on this show called Made Up Jokes where we get listeners to send in jokes that have to be authored by themselves.
That's the whole point. It's not a lame joke section. Some people think, oh, I've got a joke for your lame joke section. It's not about lame
Got to
jokes.
have made it up.
It's about made up jokes. There's a subtle difference.
It's been tricky for us to impose that criteria because how do you tell who has authored a joke? How can you prove that, you know, a particular person has actually thought of it first?
I mean, just to underline the fact that these are made up jokes, let's have the jingle. Think about it.
I'm a funny person, I often make up jokes.
Make up
My
jokes.
jokes are more amusing than those of other folks. When you hear my joke, I think you'll find that you agree. Come on, you're all invited to a made-up joke party.
You see, they're funny jokes, right?
Yeah. Hey, don't use your gavel yet, Judge
Sorry,
Reinhold.
mate.
So listen, we had a joke in from a chap called James Hewitt, and it went, how did it go?
I think it was something like, how much do they play? How much
How
do
much
they
do
pay?
they charge to play sports at Hogwarts?
Yeah.
The answer was a quid each.
Because they play.
Yeah. So that all happened and we read it out on the show and life continued. But then we were made aware of a popular young comedian who you may well know, Josie Long, appears on telly, wins awards, very funny woman. And on the Twitter website, she was complaining that was her joke. Not only that it was the sort of basis for 5 minutes of her current stand-up set. And by broadcasting this Quidditch joke on the show, we had pulled the rug out from under her stand-up. But in fact, we can hear this from the horse's mouth, so to speak, because Josie's on the line. Hello, Josie.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. This is quite a serious part of the show, because obviously some quite troubling accusations have been made by you.
People get very upset about joke theft. I mean, people like Stuart Lee, they do whole routines about joke theft.
It's a big scandalous thing in the world of comedy. But Josie, tell us how this happened, how this joke has affected you and your life.
Well, I wrote that joke about about a year and a bit ago.
Allegedly.
And recently I've just started really enjoying mucking around with it. Like I would do that bit of the joke, and then I would sort of do this really prolonged routine about how they do a register, about who's paid the pound and who's not paid the pound, and how basically that's the entire book.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed doing it. So and I appreciate that. I think it's probably sort of it's a pun, and anyone can reach a pun and all that, but I don't know.
But listen, is it not true now that when you tell that joke, what happens when you tell that joke now?
You see, last Saturday my friend texted me because I was out, and he's like, "Your joke is on Adam and Joe," and I was like, "Oh, how brilliant! I love Adam and Joe." And then he's like, "No, someone is texting in saying your joke is theirs," and I was like, "What?" And then that night I had a gig. And I did the joke, just thinking, well, I'll see, and then people shouted out, "Adam and Joe," and I was like, "No, it's mine. Someone nicked it off me."
Bad
and then
one.
they looked at me like, "You vile pedant." And then ever since, I can't do it.
Right.
And it's not that in my head it's different. It's that when I try and do it, it doesn't work anymore.
So we're going to take this to the joke court. Adam's going to preside now.
But what are we saying here? Are we saying that James Hewitt stole the joke from Josie?
Well, that's what you're accusing him of, right, Josie? What's your accusation here?
Well, although I'm willing to admit that we both could have come up with the joke.
No, that's impossible. That's impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to put forward as evidence the fact that I've heard that this man is from Australia, and I have done the Melbourne International Comedy Festival in March this year, where at the Hi-Fi Club on 2
This
occasions,
is good. Get angry.
I did
Come
that
on.
joke.
On 2 occasions, you did the joke at the Hi-Fi Club in Melbourne, Australia. Mate, were you at the Hi-Fi last night? Oh, mate, there was an amazing Hogwarts joke there.
I'm going to steal it for my own pleasure, and then later I'll ring in an English radio station, and that'll get my revenge.
I'm going to phone in 19 different countries and get respect from lots of different lazy early morning Saturday shows around the world.
Hewitt, you madman. That plan might just work.
Hewitt, you giant drongo. Shut up.
Tell Hewitt. If
You
he ever
baboon's
comes
ass,
near me,
Hewitt.
he's going to get it.
Right.
Look,
okay.
but this is the thing, Josie. We're going to have Hewitt on at about sometime after 11. We're going to get Hewitt on. You're going somewhere at 10:30, right? And he's umpiring a cricket match later.
Oh,
so we couldn't get you.
Convenient.
We couldn't get you both on air at
Trust that man
once.
to umpire.
So listen. We would like now, Josie, to record like a 10-second statement from you to James that we're going to play back to him later in the show. Are you ready for that? So
I'll try my hardest.
Please do not swear. I know the depth of feeling we're dealing with here, but try not to swear. Your 10-second statement to James starts now.
Right, Hewitt, listen to me. I know you stole the joke. It's my bloody joke. It come out of my imagination. You want to write a joke? You write a joke about your cricket umpiring.
All right, that's it.
Or your lifestyle.
Time up.
Probably
Sorry.
superior
Time
to
up. Please
ours.
stand down.
It's my
Stand
joke.
down. Calm down.
Never
Security.
again.
It's gone insane.
She's lost it. That's Judge Reinhold's gavel there. So we're going to play that back and we're going to get to the bottom of this. But just to finish this off, Josie, can you try and tell us and describe the precise moment that you invented this joke? Do you have any witnesses or circumstantial evidence?
Well, I just heard the word quid each, and I thought it sounded a bit like the words quid and each. And then I thought really long and hard about how I could make it so that it worked. And then I thought of all the silly stuff about them taking a register.
When
and
was
I
this?
thought,
When was this?
we can have a good old laugh here.
How long ago was this,
I think
Josie?
It was last July. I have no proof, though. And also, I'm not claiming to be the greatest comedian in the world, but all I want is, it's my fun joke that I enjoy performing, and now I can't do it anymore.
I'm really sorry. Josie,
Well-
it's a tragic story, and we're going to do our best to get to the
Can
bottom
I
of
tell
it.
you, my friend texted me and went, "Oh, was it the really funny one about opal fruits?" And I was like, "No."
Well, listen, we're going to get to the bottom of this, Josie, and we'll let you know what happens. But thank you very much for talking to us.
No, you're very kind. I hope you have a nice festive show.
Hey, thanks a lot. And you're so brilliant. One joke out of your set, that's not going to make you. Replace it with an even stronger one.
You'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the lovely and brilliant Josie Long, listeners. And we'll be playing that clip to James a bit later and getting to the bottom of this. And somebody will be physically punished. There will be blood.
My money's on James. Here's Monsters of Folk with Say Please.
Monsters of Folk with Say Please. This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music.
Mate.
That's all right, mate. Adam was just in the little boy's room.
It's in the dunny.
What were you doing in there, mate?
I was looking at myself in the mirror, mate.
Every day, off he goes. In the middle of dinner or lunch, he stands up and off he tiptoes up the stairs into a little room. What does he do in there?
What are you talking about, mate?
Every now and then, I follow him and put my ear to the door, and I hear a tinkling of water. What is he doing in there, in his little room that he tiptoes into every 10 minutes, every day? What does he do? A splish splash, I hear the sounds of tinkling. What is he doing in there? Oh, I see.
Bit of both, mate. Front and back. What?
Dear me. Listen, we got an email, listeners, from somebody called...
That's funny.
David Glover. And he says, "Hi, Adam and Joe. I was in Tesco this evening. Other supermarkets are available. And as I was walking past the demo TVs, which were running a Tesco promo on a loop, I noticed that the music seemed rather familiar. I recorded it with my phone. Have a listen." Yeah.
What?
That's the Text the Nation jingle, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly part of it.
What's going on there, Adam? I mean, you must have...
there,
I
mate?
thought the Text the Nation jingle was an original composition that you slaved long and hard to compose.
So did I.
Is someone copying you there, mate?
No, what's happening there, mate, is they're using the same bit of software that I used, GarageBand, and that's like pretty much the first loop you come across in GarageBand. It's called 80s Synth.
So it's basically the sign of a very, very lazy composer.
Totally lazy composer. And not only that, but he's strung together all the other loops that come in that little block, just one after the other. At least I varied mine a tiny bit. Not very much, though. Shall we hear our one?
Text the nation. Text the nation. What if I don't want to? Text the nation. But I'm using email. Is that a problem? It doesn't matter. Text.
I mean, there's even less to mine than
Yeah, but you got there first.
I feel very
That's the key
insulted.
thing.
Always that, when people are just not aware. Like, wasn't anyone in Tesco's at that meeting saying, hey, this is like the Text the Nation jingle on Adam and Joe's show? I mean, obviously, I'm implying that everyone listens to this programme, which is not the case, but one person in the whole of the Tesco organisation?
Nah.
That's a shame. It's an absolute shame.
It's a disgrace. But thanks for sending us that, David. If you can spot the... Ooh, a little bit of a cough there. If you can spot the Text the Nation jingle anywhere else, keep it to yourself.
Had a bit of a hot chocolate there, listeners, and it's done something to my throat. It's gone all gunky.
Has it?
In there, yeah.
It's not a proper hot chocolate.
Do you ever get that
is
when
it?
you drink some types of drinks, like some fizzy pop, and they just coagulate all the stuff going on in your throat in an unpleasant way?
No.
Never happens to you?
No. Listen, we're going to have another record, then we'll come back and do Text the Nation, so stand by your texting machines. Here is, what's this?
Oh, this is a free choice. Now, I'm DJing tonight, listeners, at a club called the 13th Floor, which is run by the brilliant comedy writer Dan Mayer. He writes for Harry Hill's TV Burp, and he organises this kind of 60s psychedelia, soul and pop club at the Albany pub. It's downstairs at the Albany, 240 Great Portland Street, and I'm going to be doing a couple of short DJ sets there. The night starts at 9 p.m, and it would be great to see you. So pop down, but that's why I'm theming my free plays this week as little 60s nuggets. I don't know if I'll play this one because it's a little bit slow, but I really love this song by Funny Papa Smith. It's Hungry Wolf. Probably not from the 60s, though, is it?
Did you find out when it was from?
Well, no, because you type these things into a search engine, and actually the internet's not that great for easily finding music details. All you get taken to a load of annoying, spurious sites.
There's usually a discography for each artist on Wikipedia.
Yeah, nothing for Funny Papa Smith.
For him. Well, I'm sure one of our listeners will tell us. We're just a little bit worried that after the long and ambitious spiel about the themed free plays, a track possibly from the 50s kicked in.
Or even earlier. You can tell.
But there we go. It's time for Text the Nation now, listeners.
It was a collaborative effort there on a Text the Nation jingle. Lee Henman was the man that provided me with the backing track there. And don't forget, if you would like to do alternate backing tracks for any of our jingles that we can then retool and have...
Yeah, there's one coming up next week. I got one during the week, a kind of Brazilian version of the Retro Text the Nation. The guy did a music bed and he managed to figure out the BPM precisely. And he said, look, slot this in, it'll slot into the Retro Text the Nation vocal. And it did.
Wow.
Perfectly like a glove. It was amazing. We'll be playing that next week.
So Text the Nation this week, listeners, is inspired by a trip to the Westfield shopping centre that I undertook earlier in the week. Have you been there yet, Joe?
No.
It's around Shepherd's Bush. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I do.
It's a colossal capitalist cathedral that they have erected there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty overwhelming. I mean, it is huge and cavernous, and you get the feeling...
It's all chain stores, though, isn't it? Is it?
No, not all of them.
Has it got any unique, special little shops with character? I'm assuming it's just like a massive
character,
high street. You know what I mean? Or a shop that... I can't see the point in going when all those shops have all the same things in them and there's one in every high street.
It's all under one roof, isn't it?
It's homogenised.
It's all under one roof.
Britain's homogenised high street.
So you can wander around the cathedral and there's little play areas for children.
That's useful for parents.
And, you know, you can have gigs there and bands and PAs and all sorts of things. And there's all the kind of shops that you might want to go to all under one giant roof.
Right.
That's the theory of why it's good. And you can easily spend... You've got free Wi-Fi.
Well, you know what? You can be pro it. I'm going to take an opposing view. Sure. I think it's a big old crap shack.
I mean, the strange thing about it is that it's so glossy and expensive looking.
I hate it.
You think, why? How long can they maintain this, especially in the current harsh...
I think it's pernicious.
...climate.
I'm not sure what pernicious means, but I think it's pernicious.
Do you? But now you see, I'm being a little sceptical about it, so you have to back down from
I'm starting to like it. Play areas, you say?
Free sweet samples.
Gigs by bands?
Yes.
Oh.
Anyway, I went into one of the many clothes shops they have there. And... am I allowed to say the name? I mean, I'm describing the shop specifically. So
other shops are available.
Other clothes shops are available. It's called Hollister, and I believe it's part of the Abercrombie and Fitch chain. And that was the work of a man called Mike Jeffries, right? He, I think, is the genius behind Abercrombie and Fitch and Hollister. And he's created an elaborate fictional story, right, to give meaning and feeling to the image of the Hollister concept.
I don't know this store. What does it sell? Clothes?
It's clothes, right? Well, let me tell you, first of all, that Hollister, it's called Hollister California. And the shop itself, which is inside the mall, is supposed to resemble a beach shack or surf shop, right? Ooh. It's got shuttered windows. So it's like a house within a house type thing. And there's light and dark brown walls and teal boardwalks on the exterior. So you're going up someone's porch, right? And there's a couple of seats sat out on the porch there.
Really? Are there people in the seats?
No, you can sit in the seats if you want to.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's like being in a real place where someone lives. In the centre of the store, there's a lounge area with chairs on which blankets are folded. And there's dozens of bits of surf or general popular culture magazines piled up beside them, along with potted palm trees, right? The store's interior, and there's several of these stores. I think there's 3 in the UK. They're very dimly lit with spotlights above the merchandise, right? So the whole place is quite...
It's ashamed of being a shop. It wants to be a living space, a house.
Right.
It wants to fool you into thinking you're in someone's house.
Not just a house, but a kind of spookily, moodily lit house. Surf shack. The whole shop is divided into 2 sides. There's a dudes section for boys,
right.
And the other section is the Betties section.
Oh, Betties.
For girls. That's what they call them in California.
Really?
In surfing circles. There is room spray, scented room spray, similar to the SoCal cologne. That's their brand that they sell there. Sprayed directly onto the clothes and the mannequins. The store is scented every 60 minutes.
Good.
And is mandated, that which is mandated by corporate policy.
Yes.
Right?
Woe betide you if you do not scent the mannequins every 60 minutes. Imagine the plunge in sales.
It's heavily air conditioned in there, right? You go in and it's really cold.
Well, hence having to rescent every 60 minutes.
Like it's really... I mean, they must be just torturing.
It's not cold in California, though. Oh, I guess it's air-conned.
It's super air-conned, yeah. The staff are all aged between about 20 and 25.
Good. I hate the over 25s.
So do I.
They're ugly and they're basically dying.
And the good news is that they are much more attractive than any of the customers that they could possibly get in there. Like, clearly there has been a store
Abercrombie
policy.
and Fitch got in legal trouble, didn't they, for refusing to... No, they had a slightly disabled woman, I think, with a... No, we can't talk about this. It's because it's a legal thing, Castle rules. But they were in trouble for being selective with who they hired.
Allegedly.
On physical grounds. Allegedly.
Well, it looks as if, and obviously I've got no clue if they've got an actual hiring policy at Hollister, but it certainly looks as if they've got something similar there, because everyone is extremely sexy and there's extremely loud music playing. And it's just it's an insane atmosphere.
So listen, I'm going to have to jump in here. Well, you have to hold that thought, listeners, because we have to do the news.
Oh yeah, the news.
We're past the news, so we'll bring this round to the thing we want you to text in about any second. Until then, here's the news.
That was the Go Team with Lady Flash. Just laughing because we got an email from someone informing me that the Funny Papa Smith record that I played earlier on, boasting about the fact that I'm doing a 60s DJ set tonight, and this was the kind of thing I was going to be playing, was from 1931. So,
according to Christina and Swindon's dad, we're not even sure that that's true. This isn't a show about facts.
No,
it's purely. But this is a fictional program.
Yes,
right. It's filed in the fiction section.
So when I said it was from the 60s, we've got a little jingle that. Oh no, we haven't got it. Oh, here we go.
That was a specious fact.
That's our specious fact jingle.
Yeah, it might be useful to have that standing by, more often.
Now, we sort of timed it badly just before the news, but we got into Text the Nation, and I was talking about the fact that I went to the Westfield Shopping Centre in West London, amazing palace of consumerism, and there was a shop in there called Hollister, which is basically designed to look like a kind of Californian surf shack. You go inside and it's very dark, very dimly lit, extremely cold, air-conditioned to the max, and the place is perfumed and scented every 60 minutes. They spray the mannequins and all their clothes with this special perfume. The staff are uncommonly attractive, like weirdly good looking, to the extent that you assume there must be some kind of hiring policy. Obviously, I wouldn't like to speculate. I'm sure that might be a complicated legal issue.
So what we're going to ask you, listeners, is for ideas for your crazy retail ideas, right? Shops these days, they're ashamed to be shops. People don't like just like goods on shelves. No, that's too boring and prosaic. We need a retail experience. We need an environment that transports you, goods that aren't just goods, that are kind of defined in some kind of freaky context. We'd like your ideas for new retail experience concepts, the most idiotic shopping concept you can think of.
Yeah.
And I bet you that, it'll be out there somewhere.
Because basically it comes down a lot of the time to just like selling socks and T-shirts, right? And they're not particularly special. They're just like orange T-shirts with a little bit of writing on. So you've got to jazz your shop up and make it as loony as possible for people to go in there and think, wow, I'm part of a sexy shopping experience. I've definitely got to have that orange T-shirt with the writing on.
What would make me buy stuff?
What?
Is because I like this idea of only very sexy staff, under 25. What if they hit on you? Because in shops, they come up and say, have you found what you're looking for, sir?
Yeah.
Everything okay, sir? So why not just make that a bit more flirty?
I was thinking the same thing.
Hey, good looking. Hey, have I seen you somewhere before?
Like Prozzies.
What are you doing here? You smell good, baby.
I was
How
thinking,
about that?
yeah,
like
I
that.
like it.
Like this. Baby.
They have to talk like that. You smell very good. What are you doing? Looking at that T-shirt?
Because they're clearly a bit thick, and that to me is sexy.
Sure,
because it's easier with thick people.
With a thick person, you can confuse them.
So they're thick.
Into bed.
They're thick and they're really good looking, and they make a pass at you. And yeah, I mean, you could go the whole way with that.
Well, I was thinking that at the checkout counter, so once you've actually bought something, once the deal is sealed and the card has gone through and you've entered your PIN, etc., you get a long kiss from the person behind the checkout
Really?
counter.
What sort of a kiss?
Like tongues and everything.
Really?
Sure.
How would that work?
How do you mean?
Well, it's...
From the staff's point of view.
I'm getting deja vu here. Haven't we had this discussion before? About how you hygienically arrange for random strangers to repeatedly see something we're preoccupied with?
I don't know. There's some mouth spray or something. Well, as you go into the shop, you have to agree to have your mouth desanitized, or sanitized, not desanitized. And then, so then the
That would be a
staff,
different shop.
the staff get shots at the end of every day, and there's a doctor standing by. I thought it's all fine. It's all doable.
And what does this shop sell?
T-shirts, like orange T-shirts with writing on.
Orange T-shirts with writing on. The text number is 64046. The email is adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk. We've started this Textination quite late. Look, it's 10:45. We've only got an hour and 15 minutes to do this. So please get your ideas in as quickly as possible. 64046, adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk.
Here's the Doors with Love Her Madly. That's the Doors with Love Her Madly. This is Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music.
If there was a film about the Doors, say someone made a film about the Doors.
Crazy idea.
And they wanted to capture the moment when they came up with one of their famous riffs.
Like the riff from Light My Fire.
Yeah. Would that be a good scene? How would that scene go, I wonder?
Well, because of time constraints, you'd have to speed the whole creative process up a little bit. So you could get the Ray Manzarek character to play some kind of
Say Val Kilmer.
experimental riff. And then, like, the next time he could play the actual riff.
Right, so he thinks of it really quickly.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Someone should
Be a very
do that.
good dramatic scene. Now, I was on the train earlier this week. It was one evening, and it was 8 p.m. I was getting on the train from Liverpool Street. I was very tired, been working all day in the mine. And it's exhausting work down there in the mines. And so I was looking forward to a nice little snooze, and I went on the quiet carriage. Do you like the quiet carriage?
I love the quiet carriage.
Everyone likes
no
the
mobile
quiet.
phone use.
No. And no audio equipment. No, because they're trying to avoid, what they're trying to avoid, obviously, is lunatics on phones having very loud conversations. And they're trying to avoid people with rubbish headphones turned up way too loud. So it's... Right. That was a terrible little beatboxing bit of stuff there, wasn't it? That was awful. And so you've got the lovely quiet carriage, the oasis of calm that is the quiet carriage, and you've got all the stickers up, right? Like on every single window with shh cartoons, right? People going shh. So if you don't speak the language, you can understand that this is a place to be quiet. You have to shh. And then there's announcements as well, just to underline the fact further. Just before you leave the station, welcome on board the train. And every time you stop at a station, quiet carriages are A and B, and they've been designated quiet zones. Please refrain from using your mobile phone and using audio equipment in these carriages. Thank you very much. So there's absolutely no excuse for not knowing the quiet carriage rules. And I got on this train last week that was not full in any way. So it wasn't as if, like, people had to sit in the quiet carriage. But these three guys, right, get on the quiet carriage, and about 5 minutes after we pull out of the station, more or less simultaneously, their phones go off. And they take the calls.
Oh, my God.
One after the other. So there's a Danny Dyer type city spiv. You know, Danny Dyer and Outlaw, I'm thinking.
I do know Danny Dyer and Outlaw.
And he takes the call. All right, bruv. Yeah, all right, bruv. What you doing? Yeah, I'm on the train, bruv. Yeah, just left the station, bruv. Yeah, I should be an hour or something. Nah, bruv. Nah, I'm knackered, mate. Oh, mate, I can't. I can't, bruv. Yeah, bruv.
That's my mate, Gary.
Were you on the other end of the line?
That was me.
That was your bruv?
Yeah, my bruv.
So there was bruv talking, right? And then there was another guy in a sort of hoodie, and he was having a sort of mumble chat. Yeah, all right. He's having his little chat, not too offensively loud. And then there's a third chap who's talking about DJing, and he's talking so loudly in such a booming voice that it's like a joke, right? Yeah. He had one of those laughs. Yeah, right. Gee, the new single is wicked. Her voice on that is amazing, right? Yeah, we played it last week. People went mad, right? Everyone's looking around the carriage because they're thinking, have we gone insane? This is the quiet carriage. And not only is this guy brazenly taking a call in the quiet carriage, having been requested not to do so by all the stickers and like the train guy, but he's doing it at a ludicrous volume, like as if he's on stage or something. So this goes on for a while. Everyone's looking around. No one's really saying anything. And my heart's racing with indignation.
With excitement at the possible looming confrontation.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there thinking, someone's got to say something. Because I was looking...
And it's going to be me.
I was looking forward to my apples. And now there's three people having conversations in direct floutation of the rules.
So I've got to do it. So I poke my head above the parapet and above the seats, right? And I just shout out, "Oi, mate, quiet carriage."
Nice. Who can argue with that?
Right.
Simple, non-confrontational statement of fact. What's the response?
Response from a loud DJ guy is to halt his conversation temporarily, look over at me and go, "Are you just talking to me?" And
fair point. Fair point. There are three of them. Who are you talking to?
I wasn't singling him out. I said, no, I'm talking to all you guys.
You guys. Hey, you guys. Yeah, I'm rapping across my words, across the seats to you guys.
Guys. Guys, quiet carriage. Guys, hey. Ixnay on mobile phone nay. Ixnay. Guys.
What's that?
I don't know. It's
Ixnay.
Have you ever heard
Greek?
That? Yeah, exactly.
Kids love to talk Greek.
And
ancient Greek. Oh, he talks ancient Greek.
But here's the thing. I got a total 100% success rate.
Good.
On my interferon. They all concluded their conversations. There was absolute silence in the quiet carriage. It was beautiful. And I could feel everyone else in the quiet carriage, right?
You were like a hero.
I could hear their thoughts. Who's that guy? Who's the beardy guy? He's amazing.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He just stuck his head above the parapet. He wasn't afraid to make his thoughts felt. He wasn't afraid about Danny Dyer getting back in his grill or anything like that. He just said what he thought. And he got a total result. I love him. He's amazing. So I felt brilliant for about an hour, right? And then at Ipswich, the DJ gets another call. He takes it. It's right back to square one in a really loud voice.
Do you say something?
Nah.
No. You quit while you're ahead.
Quit while I was ahead. And then, to add insult to injury, he strikes up a conversation with one of the other previous offenders, with the mumbling guy, and starts talking about DJing to him.
Talking. They're talking.
They're talking. And of course, there's no rules against talking. But he was talking very loudly. And he kept on looking over at me like, yeah? You're going to do something about this? Interferon. I'm talking. What are you going to do about it? I did nothing. But I was fantasizing right the way to my destination about filming him on my camera and doing a link. I thought, would it be funny to get him to do a link to say, "Hi, yeah, I'm the guy that was talking really, really loudly in the quiet carriage. You're listening to Adam and Joe."
Yeah, it would. Where is it? Have you got it?
Well, no, because I was worried I'd get punched in the solar plexus. What would you think, though? If that happens again, should I do it?
Well, I think you might be glorifying him, and he might think that was sort of, approbation. Is that a word?
It is. But then the listeners would know better.
They would, wouldn't they?
So that would be a victory for the listeners.
He might not understand the irony.
Yeah, well.
He might be condoning it.
I felt
well done for standing up.
Thanks.
I mean, you're a kind of a hero. In a way, you're a kind of a national hero. It seems to me you deserve a day, a commemorative day, and a gold statue.
But then the rest of the people in the carriage would have been thinking, What's happened to Buckules? He stood up once for our rights, but
he's a fair weather hero.
Fair weather hero. Now, you got a free play right now, Joe.
Yeah, this is by the Kinks. This features on the Rushmore soundtrack that I was listening to the other day. This is from their 1965 album, Kinda Kinks. It's called Nothing in the World Can Stop Me Worrying About That Girl.
It's like Brian Ferry and Mark Bolan in a blender.
It's quite tough to do, isn't it?
Next to me, I'm Devendra Banhart. Look at my giant
You're quite good at that.
Devendra Obi Banhart is an American singer-songwriter. His first name is a synonym for the Hindu god of rain and thunder, Indra. His middle name is Obi, after the Star Wars character, Obi-Wan Kenobi, apparently. Baby, which you just heard, listeners, is out on the 19th of October. It's taken from his album What Will Be, Will Be, which apparently is very, very good. It's out on the 26th of October.
How old is he then?
He's young. I mean, he's in his mid-20s or something.
Mid-20s, 77,
He is
87,
a sexy
97,
man.
2007. Does that work if he's named after Obi-Wan Kenobi? That means his father must have been at least 15 when Star Wars came out in 77. 77, 87, 97, 2007, 89, 32. Yeah, that works out, doesn't it?
There you go. Shall we get back into Text the Nation? Here's the jingle jongle.
Text the Nation. Text the Nation.
What if I don't want to?
Text the Nation.
But I'm using email. Is that a problem?
It doesn't matter, text.
Text the Nation this week's all about absurd ideas to make crazy retail shopping experiences, like how you would make and design a high-concept shop that is more than just a shop. It's kind of a lifestyle zone.
Here's another thing that I forgot to mention about this actual shop, Hollister. This is something that they don't do anymore, but when they first started, they had animals in the shop as like a sort of feature, as if it was someone's house and the animals had just wandered in.
Pets.
They had little pets, and they had a
cat, right?
They had a cat there. It was called Moon, and they had a macaw, like a parrot, and he was called something like Fletch or something.
Do you think those are focus grouped names?
Probably, but they were stopped from doing it. Oh yeah, the macaw was called Riley, a green-winged macaw, and it was a Maine Coon cat, apparently, called Fletcher. And animal rights activists successfully protested the inappropriate use of live animals as store decor, and the animals were no longer used in those shops after November 2000.
Right.
The other thing, though, one of the things that the animal rights people said was that it was unfair to the animals because the music in the shops was so loud. And this is another thing, is it's store policy in a lot of these shops to have unbelievably loud music. You know what I mean? And if
to freak your mind out, to confuse you.
If people complain
to stop you thinking.
That's right. So they overwhelm you. The whole point of Text the Nation is to think of techniques that can be used to overwhelm the senses in order to get you to buy
you can't suddenly say that.
Why not?
Because that's not what we said before.
No, it is. It's to make...
to confuse people. To lull them into a false sense of...
Yeah, but groovy things. What were we saying?
Just like crazy, mad ideas for shops to enhance your shopping experience.
Yeah,
it was a bit broader than that. Here's one. Let's read some. Here's one from Joe in Essex. His suggestion is a new extreme supermarket which involves you hunting and killing your meat. Market it as the new Eat or Be Eaten range. A new exciting food shopping experience. That's pretty good, isn't it?
So you have the livestock wandering around in the supermarket?
Yeah, or a sort of wild area, and you're given some weaponry, and they're quite dangerous but delicious animals.
I was thinking about dangerous animals. I thought that might be nice. In the clothes shop, right? You have very poisonous spiders lurking in some of the cabinets.
Yes, that's already a nice idea.
So you might get bitten. So you're a bit worried. Look at that T-shirt, mate. I really want that T-shirt, but there might be a spider in there.
And it makes you even cooler for owning the T-shirt.
Exactly.
People know you've braved the spider.
Whoa! You got the black T-shirt with the writing that looks as if it was written ages ago, but actually was written last week.
That could be a time with I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And in order to get your product, you have to reach into a weird hole, and you don't know what's inside there. Yeah. That's really good. You could triple the actual manufacturing cost.
Exactly. And then you have someone standing by with an antidote if you get bitten.
Or not. People could die. I mean, that would make the papers.
Certainly it would.
Very good publicity. Here's one from Tom from the Wolds. I want to open a shop that sells tropical fish and underwater cameras. To gain entry to the shop, you must enter via a complex valve system akin to a canal boat lock, as the shop is underwater.
Nice.
You must pay with waterproof Australian dollars. The shop is called Wet.
That's very good.
That's very good. Here's one from Andy K from Poole. I want a garden centre to actually be a garden. You walk into Homebase, enter a lift, go to the garden area. It's got grass on the floor, fairies flying around, a maze on the left, and a fountain on the right.
Fairies don't exist.
No, but the truth is not part of the equation here. Reality is not part of the equation.
Yeah.
If a big retail giant wants fairies, they'll have fairies.
Aren't some garden centres like that, like big gardens?
Yeah, but they don't have grass.
Oh.
And you can't, because that's a good idea to combine a sort of park with a garden centre.
Sure.
So these just become places, public spaces, where everything is for sale.
The guy was talking about Wet. In Wet, they have water, right?
Yes.
In that shop, yeah.
Underwater.
Have you been to Wet? I was thinking weightless. What about a weightless shop?
That's a good idea. And very expensive.
Again, you go through an airlock and you're weightless in the
products
shop.
are floating around.
Look at those T-shirts floating around there with the writing on that looks as if it was done weeks ago.
Here's one from Gil, or Jill. Not sure what to do with the G there. You could have a shop where you connect with the product, ... by making it. It's a communal craft experience. I think that's a brilliant idea. So those production lines in Asia where they make electronics, you just go in there and you sit on the production line and you help manufacture, say, 240 flat screens. And then you pay $1,000 and take one home.
That's a nice idea.
People would do that. I bet you they would do that.
I bet you're right,
Kids
Joe.
would love it.
I bet you
And it's simple. All you have to do is one little solder on one little chip for an hour.
That's a
bish bash bosh. These are really good ideas.
Because if you erected, you get your flat pack from your IKEA style shop, right? If you're actually part of a production line putting those things together, everyone wins, right?
Everybody
Because
wins.
they save on the manufacturing costs.
Yeah, one last one that's not so good. From Ian in Cumbria.
Exciting.
My mate's idea for a unique shopping experience was to sell everything in brine. This means every item, not just things that might be traditionally sold in brine. Clearly a unique selling point, but even better would be the special item, tuna in brine. In brine. So keep those coming in. The text number 64046, the email adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk. Here is James Brown with Make It Funky.
JB, you know, that's not one of my favourite James Brown songs. It's called Make It Funky, but then after his count in at the top, 1, 2, 3, make it. The horns don't sound that funky. Do you
They're laid back. That's the point. They're not making an
too
effort.
laid
They're
back.
too. I like it, man. You can't insult. That's probably Maceo Parker or someone, or Fred Wesley.
He needs to pep it up a little.
You're cussing the Wessels.
If I was the band leader, I'd say, hey, come on, chaps. Now, that wasn't funky. Make it a bit more punchy.
And they go, who is that cat? Who is that idiot
Hey,
cat?
wait a second. Isn't that the guy who shouted out in the quiet carriage?
Yeah, the fat one from
Come
Laurel
on,
and
guys.
That's the little fat one from Laurel and Hardy.
Hey,
That's a
this is
really
the
awful
fat
accent.
guy from Laurel and Hardy.
So listen, what now? Oh yeah, if you're a regular listener, you might remember that we have a sort of a competition going, and we can call it a competition because it is a competition. It's actually been sanctioned by the castle. It's all official. And the prize is, if it could be described as a prize, to join us on stage at the Electric Proms and to perform a Song Wars tune. We've put 2 Song Wars tunes on our website, bbc.co.uk/blogs/Adam and Joe. They're instrumental versions, karaoke versions. They've got the lyrics up there with a little bouncing ball over the lyrics for you to sing along. We're asking you to make a video of yourself performing the song. Doesn't have to be like a pop video, just a straightforward kind of, photo booth style thing.
Chocolate rain.
Yeah, that kind of thing, miming the song. Then you send us you upload it to one of them sites where you upload videos. You send us the link. We look at them, and the least insane performance, or possibly the most insane performance, will be chosen, and you'll get to join us on stage. You have my Quantum of Solace song or Adam's Nutty Room song to choose from. Last week we announced that we had no entries, none, not a single one. This kind of desperate void motivated some of our listeners to submit some videos. We now have 12 entries. How many Quantum of Solace? 3? 3 Quantum of Solace.
Was it only 3?
9 Nutty Room versions. So Quantum of Solace, underrepresented.
Well, it's a lot longer, though, isn't it, Quantum of Solace? And Nutty Room is fairly short, so that's one thing.
But listen, you don't have to worry about knowing the lyrics. We're going to have a big video screen on the day with the lyrics up there, so it's a very low-key. You don't need to be anxious.
Dame Judi Dench is furious with
All
him.
sorts of opportunities for magnificent vocals. So keep those entries coming in. And today we thought we would, encourage you to enter your video. But also, if you don't feel like performing, you could be in the audience. We've got what? Where is it? 44 pairs of tickets? Yeah, 44 pairs of tickets to give away.
The show is taking place on the 22nd of October. That's a Thursday, and it'll be at lunchtime. So you'll need to be able to come along.
That's the hottest, slottest. I mean, that's when all the kids love to see things. Lunchtime on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Because Thursday lunchtime. Oi, kid.
We do it for lunchtime tomorrow. It's cool because then you got the whole rest of the day to go out and
it is cool, cause
carouse, yeah. So you'll need to be able to come along to the Roundhouse, which is in Camden Town. It's the Chalk Farm area of London. Oh no, it's Camden Town / Chalk Farm area. I'm trying to read from this page and make it sound naturalistic.
Told you not to try and read.
So yeah, you can find out more at bbc.co.uk/6music.
Don't be scared by the insane page of rules that are there if you check out how to get your tickets.
You do have to register your details, and it is like applying for a visa.
It's like a draw, isn't it?
A foreign country.
So you just have to apply, and then you get. But the castle, they're in trouble last year. They've got to be so careful with stuff like this.
You do have to be careful. But we'd really like you to come along because one way or another, no matter who we pick from our competition entrants, it is going to be a fun afternoon. And we'd very much like to meet you and hang out. And the
performance thing will soon drop off.
Yeah.
Like a sheep's bits.
And we're going to bring a
and
couple
it'll
of
just
things
be a fun party.
along to entertain you, and it's going to be an enjoyable afternoon.
Yeah.
So do check it out, right?
Registration is open now, and it closes on Friday the 9th of October at 4 p.m. So if you fancy coming along, do register on that website. And, you know, I'm sure not many people will register.
Don't say that.
I'm sure millions of people will register.
you.
So don't be disappointed if you don't win. And your video entries, if you'd like to actually enter the performance aspect of it, they have to be in by the 14th of October. So you've still got a little bit under 2 weeks.
Check out some of the entries we've had already on YouTube.
Check out some of the Quantum of Solace entries. I mean, they're brilliant, but I think they're
brilliant.
nutters.
Shall we say brilliant but disturbing?
Disturbing, yeah.
And we've got some amazing close harmony versions of Nutty Room and stuff. We've got a little montage here of some of the versions of Nutty Room we've had.
Nutty, I am a nutty man. I'm sitting in my nutty room. It's a clue for the cops, so I'm pulling out the stops because I'm a complicated loop.
Look at the jars, look at the jars, look at the things inside the jars. I put some fingers there, some hair and several winkies.
Look at the walls, totally covered in crazy scrolls. And from time to time I add a couple of stinkies.
I love the smell and the gloom of my crazy nutty room, so come over for some nibbles and some drinkies.
A couple of those people were actually in what sounded like real Nutty Rooms.
Well, one of them had changed it to poo and pooping, hadn't he? Mm-hmm. Knowing exactly where your comic interests lie. But I'm depressed because nobody's done the Quantum of Solace.
Oh, come on, listeners. You've got to
mad.
do some good versions of Quantum of Solace too. What Joe really wants is some staff from one of those clothing shops to do a version.
But no one's even sung the Quantum of Solace. For some reason, the three men who, you know, I'm very grateful towards them, even though they, I think, are all in some kind of a prison or hospital, they seem to just say the lyrics. Just declare them.
They're reading them out from the karaoke screen. That's what we asked people to do. I know
it's a song. You're supposed to sing it, not say it like you're kind of had your brain recently turned inside out.
You should check them out, listeners, because they are funny.
I don't want to be disrespectful. They're very, very good. They just lack a certain joie de vivre that Nutty Room has.
Here's some classic indie music for you. This is The Breeders with Cannonball. It's an absolute
good
smash.
Little noise.
What a smash. That's The Breeders with Cannonball. Hey, listeners, this is Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. Delighted to be with you this Saturday afternoon. Can't tell you if the weather's going to improve or not. Doesn't look.
It's going to be gaily. They said on the Radio 4 weather as I was driving in, it's going to be gaily.
Gaily, right.
It's going to be winds of up to 70 miles an hour in the north.
It's going to do some battering, isn't it? It's going to be battering parts of England, the wind.
Battering broken
with parts
Britain.
Of England?
The final indignity.
I'm not so worried about England, but I'm going to batter parts of it. I'm going to batter Scotland.
Once the proud queen of Europe, now an old haggard tramp.
Why are you saying that about England?
I don't know. Sort of thing they say on the news.
Is it?
Don't know, not really.
What's the proud queen of Europe now an old haggard tramp?
Yeah.
Is that what Alistair Stewart says?
It's what he'd like to say. If he had the balls.
Got anything lined up for Saturday night, Joe? Exciting things?
I have got some European cinema DVDs.
From what you said about Alistair Stewart.
Is that bad?
Vicious.
It was just stupid. What's the question?
You got some European cinema DVDs.
Oh yeah.
What kind of thing?
I've got
Dead Snow.
Some good. No, the new Michael Haneke I've got. I'm
Have you?
Excited about.
You love Michael Haneke.
I do.
I think he's torture.
I like him.
What's his new one then?
It's called The White Ribbon.
Is it?
Yeah.
And is it?
I'm excited.
Yeah. Who's in that?
It's very
one?
stoic and black and white.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Who else is in it? Lily Allen. I think plays the lead.
Yeah.
And then it's got the Teletubbies,
right?
The baddies.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
He's the last film star that I can remember.
Well done.
Shia LaBeouf, is he in it?
Probably.
He's a new film star.
He'll be taking over. He'll be in the next one.
What I'm going to be doing with my Saturday night listeners is a little bit of DJing, right? At
your 60s tracks.
The 60s tracks. I've actually got a 60s
from the
track
30s.
from the 30s. Right now, here's one from the Human League from the 60s. It's the 13th Floor Club downstairs at the Albany Pub, 240 Great Portland Street. Starts at 9 p.m. And I am going to be playing 60s music. That's the idea.
I get an urge just to tell people my address and get them to come and watch films with me.
Right.
Because I want to reciprocate.
Sure.
You know, you say I'm doing this thing, come on down. I think, well, what if I got people to come on over? We could all the listeners, we could all hang out, we could watch some DVDs.
You need a communal space, man.
We'd see some 60s films, you know, Jurassic Park. All those famous 60s films. But that'd be terrible because,
Anyway, so come along, do hang out at the 13th floor. Here is a piece
come along
of real
to my
60s
DVD
music.
session.
No, because that would be an invasion
private.
of your home space. This is the Stones, Rolling Stones, that is, and this is from their album, compilation album, Singles 1963 to 1965. So it is in the 60s. This is Stoned. That was Gaz Coombs and Danny Goffey from Supergrass trading as Hot Rats with their cover of Gang of Four's Damaged Goods. And Gaz and Danny are going to be on Six Music tomorrow from 3:30. A special show was recorded at Gaz's house earlier in the week, and very good it is too, apparently, so do listen out for that. And the trail before was talking about it being Supergrass on Six Music. Not quite true. It's Daz and Ganny from Supergrass. But, you know, you can't have Mickey Quinn.
What did you just say? You said Daz and Ganny.
No, did I?
Yeah.
Bit of spoonerism.
Daz and Ganny.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Gaz and Danny from Supergrass. But there's no Mickey Quinn, so you can't have Supergrass without the Quinn Meister.
Quickie Min.
Don't. What are you doing?
From Grouper Sauce. Here's the news. That's the Doves with Black and White Town. Very beautiful video to that, directed by Lynn Ramsey, shot by Tom Townend. Very lovely video.
Lynn Ramsey that done Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. Earlier on in the programme, we had the wonderful comedian Josie Long on the telephone, and she was furious about the fact that she reckons she made up the joke about how much do you have to pay to play sports at Hogwarts? Answer, £1 each. That was part of her stand-up act. And since it was read out as the work of James Hewitt on last week's show in the made-up jokes section, she has had to drop it from her act, and she's absolutely hopping mad. We've got James on the phone right now, and James is in Western Australia. Are you there, James?
I am here, yes.
Now, James, in order to make you feel more comfortable, we will be using our Australian accents. You will if you could just testify to their perfect authenticity.
They are, as we say over here in Australia, as we Australians say, as you probably know, they're fair dinkum.
Oh, absolutely. We say that all the time.
Now, James, we were chatting just while the Doves were playing there, just before we came on air, and we established that you're a policeman, James.
That is correct.
So this is a little ironic, you being accused of joke theft. You might have to cuff yourself, mate, at the end of all this. Give yourself a little...
I've done a full investigation.
Give yourself a little bit of a beat-up.
So can you tell us the background? How did you make up this joke? Because, of course, you are claiming you made it up, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent it into the made-up jokes section.
Of course.
Tell us describe the exact moment when the joke came to you.
Well,
Sorry, I'll say that again in Australian. Tell us the exact moment that the joke came to you, mate.
Oh, yeah. Well, it just came to me in a flash of inspiration. What more can I say? I was sat there reading some Harry Potter and watching some Harry Potter, and I had an extremely blonde-haired man next to me, a young Draco Malfoy, and he said, "Can you lend me £1?" And I said, "Oh, why is that?" And he said, "Oh, I'm going to go and play sport." And I said, they charge you £1 each. And we all fell about laughing. And since then, it's been my joke.
So how do you feel about Josie accusing you of thieving this joke? Because she says she played gigs in Australia, and not only does she say that, but you say in your email to us, in my defence, I have not heard of Josie Long. I googled her and found out that she went to a school about a mile from my old house in the UK. Is that true?
Right. And clearly there's a bit of long joke theft gone on here. And I want to know where my royalties are, Josie Long.
So
where are my royalties?
You're accusing her of stealing it from you. How could she possibly do that? Are you saying she's got kind of joke spies, or she's bugged you in Western Australia? I mean, that's quite an accusation, far-fetched if you ask me, James Hewitt, Officer James Hewitt.
Hang on a second, you're supposed to be an independent arbiter. Whose side are you on?
I don't really know. I'm just trying to stir something up.
You're the absolute stirrer. Before we came on air, Joe said to James, can you get quite angry, James, about it? Can you act like you're really outraged and that Josie definitely
it's
is
not
wrong?
working so far, is it? Well, it's
outraged. It's a disgrace.
There you go. It's just when Josie came on, one of the first things she said was, I'm sure we both just thought of it at the same time. I was like, don't say that. That's just letting the air out of the whole thing. We're trying to run...
No.
Well, look, here's what Josie actually said. Let's play you a little clip of what Josie was saying before.
Okay.
Right, Hewitt, listen to me. I know you stole the joke. It's my bloody joke. It come out of my imagination. You want to write a joke? You write a joke about your cricket umpiring.
All right, that's it.
Or your lifestyle.
Time up, sorry.
Time
up, please. Stand down. Stand down. Calm down. Security!
It's gone insane. There you go. That was us
I'll tell you what, Long, if you're listening, don't come back to Perth. Your cards are marked.
Oh, that's maybe going too far the other way there.
If Josie plays
James.
a gig, was she at the Hi-Fi Club or something? And if she plays a gig there in Western Australia, then James might fiddle her stats or something.
Well, he's a police officer. He could probably get it shut down.
Get the whole thing shut down and busted. Anyway, James, thank you so much for talking to us.
Listen, are we concluding then that then this was just a coincidence?
Yeah.
I think a bizarre twist of fate.
And are both these people going to be allowed to use the joke? Do you think Josie should continue using the joke there, James?
If you give her my email address and bank account details so she can forward me royalties, then she's, of course, more than welcome to.
Do you know what I think? The fact is that the first day the first Harry Potter book was released, right, someone probably would have thought of that joke. And that's the criteria I think we need to apply to jokes. If the cultural reference in it is old... beyond a certain number of years, I think the laws of probability mean that if it's a simple bit of wordplay, someone will have thought of it. We just need.
Far be it from me to start rowing firmly for sure, but this is not the most sophisticated joke I've ever heard in my life.
Exactly, that's very humble of you, and I think the person to blame here is Adam Buxton for reading it out and not realising that it would provoke this horrible, horrible contretemps.
I thought it was funny. Congratulations, James. I think you're a genius.
Thanks for coming on, James. And do good umpiring at this cricket match.
I will do.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bonzo. Fair dinkum, mate. Be careful out there. Don't read any books.
The only acceptable racism left on the planet. A bad Australian accent.
Here is Fanfarlo. These are the worlds coming down. That is Fanfarlo. They're London-based, right? They were formed in 2006 by the Swedish musician Simon Balthazar. And that track is called The Walls Are Coming Down. Single's out now. Second song to be released from Reservoir, their debut album, which was released on Monday.
It's time for some more Text the Nations. Here is the jingle.
Text the Nation. Text the Nation.
What if I don't want to?
Text the Nation.
But I'm using email. Is that a problem?
It doesn't matter, text.
This week it's all about your crazy ideas for lifestyle-orientated retail experiences.
Here's another idea I had, right? You have, apart from the weightless atmosphere, how about the store is completely frozen? And then and this is a clothes store, and you defrost your clothes when you get home.
So that's pretty good. It's a bit pedestrian, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, there are ice hotels that lazy television programs constantly do features from.
Yeah.
And, it's just... I don't mean to be too dismissive or cruel, but it's maybe too late. But, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I've changed my mind. Whoa, it's a good idea. Oh, no, I'm thinking now about all the consequences. Yeah,
because
good idea.
It's so cold that your brain starts to shut down, and that's what these stores want a lot of the time. They want the atmosphere.
What if they just hit you over the head with a sort of kosh, as if the shop could be called Kosh, and they hit you over the head with a bosh?
How about this? Kosh, spelt Qosh.
And then they take your money.
Yeah.
And or you wake up strapped to a chair and they torture you till you give them your PIN number.
Right. And you consent to it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you consent to it.
And they do a certain...
Guantanamo, it could be called.
Guantanamo.
Yeah, it's a political shop.
That is nice. And you can just buy orange boiler suits there.
Yeah.
Makes life simple.
Anyway, here are some ones sent in by listeners. This is one from Jack West Oram. Here's an idea for your sexy shop. What if all the orange T-shirts... This is a shop we were discussing earlier, right? Here's an idea. What if all the orange T-shirts with words on them and other clothes were already being worn by sexy people in the shop?
Good
In order to
idea.
buy clothes, you have to strip
Undress
the
them.
living mannequins of their vestments.
Brilliant.
I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
I'm pinching myself.
Says Jack, who calls
That is
himself
brilliant.
Jack Honori. Here's one from Rob in Birmingham. I feel we read out many texts from Rob in Birmingham. He's just a very clever, witty chap.
Might be a number of different Robs.
Wouldn't it be great if someone opened an underwear shop where the staff wore nothing but their underwear? This sounds like a pathetic fantasy. And it partly is now. However, I swear to you, it has only ever come into my head as a result of your Text the Nation. Now, would that be nice? Would that be a bit
yucky?
A bit yucky.
No, because they would be
you've got
so
to imagine
clean.
they're really sexy and very clean. They're
Yeah.
probably mandated by the management to shower every hour.
Yeah, health checks and
checks.
hygiene checks.
Hygiene checks.
Although I was thinking, what about just nude staff?
I don't know.
What?
Well,
Why is the poo-poo coming out?
Because bits and bobs, they'd get everywhere. You'd be... the chip and pin machine would break. You'd have to do the old thing where you swipe the card through the machine and your bits would get caught.
Why are they swiping at that level? They don't swipe that low. They have the machine
that's the level
at nipple
that-
height.
Oh, and everything's at nipple
And the
height.
ladies can't operate.
Yeah, but your nipple height's very different from, for instance, my nipple height.
I
It's
wouldn't be
about
allowed on the
6
floor.
meters.
Obviously, I would not be allowed on the floor.
Well, what about if you're
I'd be
a
working
customer?
in a stock room. You, the little hairy one, the one that looks like Laurel and Hardy guy. Get in the stock room.
Here's one from Liam Mason. I think that on entering the
Liam
store,
Mason?
you are given a trolley for you to sit in. All the sales assistants have to whiz you around the shop looking for your shopping. I mean, that's something major supermarkets
Supermarket.
That's a major supermarket. That is something that major supermarkets could implement tomorrow.
Pushing you around.
Pushing you around in the flipping trolleys.
I like it. You're getting angry.
I said the F word. That's the end of our career.
Drop the F-bomb.
Did I read the one about things in brine?
Yeah. Tuna in brine.
Here's another one then from Rob in bed in Romford. A clothes shop with 60 staff. Oh no, this is the same idea. Oh God.
What, and they're all nude?
Phil. Phil. Good, thanks. Here's the one with Stephen Wells. A shop that sells just coat hangers. But the coat hangers have clothes hanging on them. And when you take them to the checkout, the clothes are removed and you buy the hanger.
That's just an idea for a hanger shop.
All right. I'm moving on. I'd like a shop, this is from Ewan, I'd like a shop where there are way more shop assistants than customers, like a 10-to-1 ratio, and each one wears the national dress of a different country. They swarm around you, gibbering and fighting and trying to sell you pencils. It would be a stationery shop.
What?
Another one, Graham Bowman. Shop has no branding. It is a perfect cube, painted entirely white. It is empty apart from a single white T-shirt which hangs in the middle of the room. The T-shirt is white. It has no label. It comes in one size, mathematically measured to fit only the perfect human form. It costs £500. One staff member dressed in white sits on a white plastic chair in the corner of the store. They never speak. If you buy the T-shirt, the store closes for the rest of the day.
I like it. But then how would people know that you bought your white T-shirt from White?
Because it would have the word white written on it in white.
In a special
No,
way.
it'd just be white.
Uh-huh.
Finally, Pauline in Suffolk. Hi, Adam and Joe. For a new shopping experience, an X Factor style panel of judges in the changing rooms to help people decide how things really look.
That's not bad. Yeah, have got one in the corner there.
But that's terrific, isn't it? What an amazing lot of messages we got.
And if you're listening during the week, don't forget that you can still contribute for next week's Retro Textination, but you can only contribute by email. Texts will not be tolerated! adamandjoe.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk is the email address to send them to. Here's some music right now. This is your free play, Joe.
Yeah, this is a hot new band. When, what's he called? Jerry O'Connell, Jimmy Stockings, who does later, Jules Holland.
Tommy Timpkins,
when he introduced them the other week, I saw them on Later.
Did you?
Yeah, it's an innovative underground show where
Sure
you
it
can
is.
hear new music. He said, here's some music by some exciting newies. He said...
Oh, round of applause. Go on,
Round of applause for exciting newies. Over on my left, Fridge, it's a round of applause for the milk. But this is the XX, and this is a song from their album called VCR. The XX with VCR. This has been Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. Thanks to everybody who's texted and emailed and listened. Don't forget this show is available in a highlights version in a podcast form on Monday, or you can listen again on the iPlayer all week.
Stay tuned for Liz Kershaw. She's coming up next. Have a fantastic week, and we'll be back with you at the same time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.